Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Blizzard think they've went too far. They've said this. Ian Hazzikostas literally said this in regards to what they've done with classes and the pruning. He said that
is it loud?
Classes are the lens through which you play the game. And
that's literally like 10 other fucking things that we've said. Like how many people in the community have said that exact same fucking thing? Louder. This should be
fine. The classes are bad. That because the class is the lens through which you play the game, well, a bad class is pretty much going to ruin the enjoyment of the game for many people. And that they are beginning to agree with that, and that they thank people for their feedback.
Louder. I'll make it a little bit louder.
Very interesting to hear indeed. There's quite a lot to get into here. There's some very interesting comparisons with classic and with live, spec identity versus class identity, and then also the fact that, we've literally heard a lot of these words before, but there is one kind of key difference this time around, and I think that's the thing we'll start with. So, we've heard Blizzard say they think they've went too far. We've been hearing that since, I believe, October, and then sporadically in interviews before that, just about things like class pruning. But that has typically not really happened in a super pre-prepared way. It's been things like the developer Q&As. Well, this comes from the Developer Insights video for patch 8.2 that was pre-recorded by Ian.
It's probably
and that does mean that they have control of the final edit. If they don't like something he ended up saying, they can take it out. So
that's actually a really good point. That's a really good point. So there's no way, like, this is something that was basically pre-approved by Blizzard. This isn't, you know, an offhanded comment that Ian made in a Q&A or something like that. This is something that they consciously allowed to go out there in that specific form. So I never thought of that, but yeah, what Belly was saying right now is very true.
This is very much something that they have went on the record with. And they've not only just went on the record talking to Forbes or something like that, they've done it in the video they posted at the same time that they posted the 8.2 trailer. They've done it in something that essentially is a bit of marketing material for the 8.2 patch. So the fact that they've said these things in such a high-profile, prominent way, we could see that as a pretty large public commitment. And that's why I think it's important to talk to you about that today. So yes, Ian said they think they went too far in prior expansions, and that they were too focused on their measure of complexity and all of that, just being the number of buttons.
Yeah,
even though, and this is an example that he talked about, there were things like, say, alter time. Now, alter time, that could be used very well, or it could blow up in your face and get you killed.
And that's what makes it
fun. Which meant that it was a really cool button. Okay, it had niche uses, it wasn't bound all the time, and perhaps because they just saw that wasn't a commonly bound button, they thought, we'll remove the button. And that's something that I think just about everyone who plays World of Warcraft has an example of, right? Something in your class that ended up being killed. Now, sure, from a hunter's perspective, I still miss the days of patch 5.2 and readiness and our crazy openers, and I get how some of that may have been a bit OP, but broadly speaking, yeah, I think we all have examples of some buttons that Blizzard just pruned away.
I don't have an example. I have like a whole book, like all the warrior abilities that I don't have anymore. Like I don't have Mocking Blow, I don't have Challenging Shout, I don't have Interrupting Shout, I don't have my banners anymore, I don't have Shattering Throw, I don't think, do I have Sunder Armor anymore? No, I don't have Sunder Armor anymore, I don't have Heroic Strike, I don't have Intercept, I don't have, let's see, Stances, I don't have, I'm running out of fingers here, I don't have Blood Rage, I don't have Throwdown. Okay, there, I'm out of fingers, I'm done. Like, there's so many fucking things. Well, you do still have Shield Block. Shield Slam? No, you still have Shield Slam too. Holy shit, man. Yeah, use your toes. Sorry, guys. I don't want to get banned.
So that's the first thing that he talked.
Oh, yeah, you can't shoot weapons. You can't shoot a weapon. Like, I literally have a bow. Like, do I have a bow or something that I can use? I have like somewhere like an arrow or a bow. There's no way I have a bow. It's like, all right, imagine, guys, listen. Imagine this is like a bow, right? And you pull the bow back, right? And like usually you'd pull the bow back and you'd be like this, right? And you'd shoot the arrow. Warriors, this is how warriors use bows. Ah! And then they do nothing. They do fucking nothing. Like, literally, they sit there and they hold the bow on one end of the bow, and then they just end up not even doing anything. They might as well just be hitting themselves. I'm serious. Didn't see that coming? Yeah, that's smart, right? I love doing that shit, right? I do. I do. Only point is, like, it's so dumb. Like, warriors literally can't use bows. Like, give me a fucking break. Like, accurate for warrior players? Yeah, I'm serious. Like, I'd go on live right now, but I don't want to. But I'd go on live and show you guys. It's so stupid.
About, and I think it's very good that he talked about that. He said that they'll be looking to reintroduce some buttons in the future, and I think for me it's less about reintroducing old buttons, and it's more that they maybe feel free to have just more niche buttons in the future and new designs.
Yeah,
so that's definitely a good thing. But that's not all, though, because he did talk about something that I have really been feeling a lot lately, right? And that is spec identity over class identity. And there's a few different times where I've felt this, and I think it's an interesting insight. So when I was doing my class reviews for this patch, it really revealed to me something about the way that they're designing the game. And that was the first time that I felt it. And then the next time was playing Classic again. And the first thing that really strikes you with Classic is, I'm a mage. I'm not a fire mage, I'm not a frost mage, I'm not an arcane mage, I'm a mage. I'm a mage.
I don't know why they don't. I think going back to that and making class identity more of a focus than spec identity will actually help casual players a lot, because it'll be easier for them to transition between specs. Like, this is like no troll or anything like that. That actually would be really good.
Mage use customizing, and I'm choosing which abilities from those schools of magic I want, but I'm a mage.
Yes.
Whereas right now, a fire mage is a fire mage, a frost mage is a frost mage.
Yep.
Their gameplay styles are entirely different. And that really is something that's been a big point of change. I think World of Warcraft has moved towards that more and more and more over time, to the point where really everyone plays 3 classes per character. That's just how different they are. But what's really happened, and this is kind of odd because Ian talked about the idea of, well, we could make some more abilities just generic and allow for more hybridization. He talked about thinking that hybridization is a strength, is a good thing, is fun, that people enjoy that, and I definitely agree with him. But
I wish there were more hybrid classes in the game. I think in BC there was like rep paladins, arms warriors, and enhancement shamans were all hybrids. Like the main thing that they brought to the raid is how they would help the other members in the raid. And I thought that just made the game so much more interesting. Like, I don't know why. I just thought, like, having, like, those hybrid, like, in between, like, damage and healer specs. Like, whenever Esfand, for example, whenever Esfand and I, we did Scarlet Monastery, and he would off-heal, and he would be able to, like, do these different, like, little cool things. And, like, you know, he's, like, doing damage to it at the same time, but he's mostly healing and supporting. That's awesome. That was so cool. And I don't know why they don't do that more. I would love to see that more. Maybe people selfish because they played for others, though. Well, I don't think that players were selfish at all. I think that really the reason why they got rid of that is because they removed the social element in the game, and so people weren't being judged off of any sort of like a personal value or off of anything besides just the damage number that they brought to the raid. And that's it. And so in them eroding the social aspects of the game, they made hybrid classes less possible to raid with, because you need a certain amount of trust and a certain amount of understanding that you have with people that are hybrid players, that you know, okay, well, this person's going to be able to bring this into the game or whatever, right? And it's like playing hybrid classes works much better whenever you're playing with people that you trust and that understand what you're trying to do. And DPS meter damage, like just your straight up damage, is very easy for anybody to understand. So because it was the lowest common denominator that people could judge players by, that became the entire Bible in which that you would define if a player was useful to the raid or not. And in Burning Crusade and Vanilla, there are plenty of people that weren't doing a lot of damage, but they were incredibly useful to the raid. And whenever Wrath of the Lich King came out and pugging became really popular, all of that stuff kind of faded away. And you still have little remnants of that, right? With like Shadow Priest maybe, but not really. And I think they should go back to that a little bit more. It's going to be a hard transition for them to make. And I don't even know if it'll be possible with like the way that LFR and grouping works now.
I would almost say that at this stage, because buttons are less designed to just be a button, and they're designed to be a part of a very, very tightly designed cycle that provides a very specific gameplay aesthetic for that spec. That, well, the specs are just designed in such a specific way that I actually don't know if it's even possible to do that. But still, the fact that he was talking about that is, I think, super, super important. It reveals a lot of core differences between the current game and, I'd say, the current game, Mists of Pandaria, Cataclysm, and Classic. And I guess if I was to really boil that down, there is Now, there is MOP, there is Classic. Those are like points of extremes in class design and how they...
I think that's true. Yeah, actually, that's a really good point, because Mists of Pandaria was like the